Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's jump right into things today. We are tackling something that I know pretty much all of us experience at some point, that endless, utterly exhausting loop of thoughts that just will not shut off. We're going to be unpacking some incredibly fascinating insights, translated directly from our Indonesian source material, that actually completely flip the script on mental chaos. We're going to look at exactly how to transform that paralyzing exhaustion of overthinking into a highly structured, productive superpower. You know that feeling when you're just lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, obsessing over some tiny mistake you made literally years ago? Or maybe you're always trying to guess how someone's going to react, inventing these elaborate future scenarios in your head that haven't even happened yet. It is so draining. But I want to pose a totally paradigm-shifting question to you. What if your overthinking is actually a superpower? Seriously, think about it for a second. What if all of that immense mental energy, that capacity to imagine an endless branching tree of possibilities, what if it's just raw power that's waiting for the right instructions? To figure out how to harness this, we first need to look at what it's currently doing to us. The translated source text defines overthinking as an exhausting mental habit where the brain works continuously without any real results. And honestly, it is entirely valid if you feel worn out by this. Your mind is essentially running a marathon. It's sprinting through worst-case scenarios and what-ifs, burning through immense psychological calories, all while your physical body is just standing completely still in the living room. It's a massive expenditure of energy with absolutely zero return on investment. So, how do we fix this? Well, here is our blueprint for today. We'll cover 1. The overthinking trap. 2. A misdirected superpower. 3. Taking back mental control. 4. Structuring the mental chaos. And finally, 5. Action over perfection. Let's get started. Section 1, the overthinking trap, running in circles. Listen, it's absolutely vital to acknowledge the toll this takes on us. When our thoughts are just spinning in the same place over and over again, we are actively being robbed of our precious time, our deep focus, and our emotional stability. It leaves us feeling entirely out of control. And the translated text uses this fantastic metaphor to explain what's happening up there. Thoughts running without direction are like messy, untidy files scattered across a computer desktop. So, the really crucial takeaway here is this. Your brain isn't broken. It's not malfunctioning. It is simply disorganized and in desperate need of a filing system. It has all this incredible processing power, but no clear folders to put anything in. Moving right along to Section 2, a misdirected superpower, the paradigm shift. You know, it is so easy to feel guilty about being an overthinker, to feel like it's some sort of, character flaw you need to cure. But we need to shift that narrative from guilt to empowerment right now. Take a look at this translated quote from the original text. An active mind is not the enemy. It's a sign of high awareness and strong empathy. Let that sink in. If you're overthinking, it actually means you have a deep, profound desire to understand the world and the people around you. You've got an incredible potential for critical thinking, deep analysis, and brilliant problem solving. You are naturally anticipating needs and spotting risks. The energy just needs to be channeled correctly so it actually works for you rather than against you. Which brings us to Section 3, taking back mental control, the first steps. Okay, so how do we actually channel it? Let's dive into the actionable steps derived from the Indonesian framework to stop this endless mental spin cycle. Here are the first 3 micro steps to help you gain that control. First, you have to realize when the mental spin is happening. Self-awareness is absolutely key here. You've got to catch yourself before you spiral by simply pausing and saying, okay, I'm overthinking again. Second, we have to swap the core question we are asking ourselves. And third, write your thoughts down as concrete notes. When you physically dump your thoughts onto paper or, into a notes app on your phone, you are moving the burden right out of your head. You don't have to use mental energy to remember it anymore. This creates a highly necessary emotional distance from the worry, allowing you to finally look at it objectively. Let's zoom in on that second step for a second, because it is a massive linguistic pivot. Notice the difference here. Why is this happening to me versus how can I fix this situation? When you ask why, you're kind of playing the victim. You're trapping yourself in guilt and doubt. But the absolute second you ask how, you completely flip the dynamic. For example, instead of agonizing, why did I completely mess up that presentation, you ask, okay, how can I prepare better for the next one? The instant you change the question, you become an active problem solver. You shift your mental energy from complaining about the past to actually taking action in the future. Our fourth step is all about boundaries, represented perfectly by this number, 15 minutes. The framework suggests creating a dedicated thinking time, say 15 minutes in the late afternoon, to just review whatever is bothering you. By limiting the time, you're putting a strict curfew on your worries. You're essentially telling your brain, look, you get exactly 15 minutes at 4 p.m. to panic and run through every single scenario, and then we are done. This single habit is a total game changer. It prevents your anxiety from leaking out and ruining your entire day, completely containing the chaos into a highly structured, manageable box.
Section 4. Structuring the chaos. Logic over emotion.
So, once we've contained the worry, we need to start separating actual reality from our brain's highly creative worst-case scenarios. Step 5 tackles a huge trap for overthinkers. We constantly fabricate these massive disasters from tiny, insignificant details, right? Like a friend replies with a very short text message, and you immediately assume they are furious with you and they're plotting to end the friendship. To make your mind productive, you must strictly separate your personal interpretations, the assumptions, from the objective, provable facts. Stop and ask yourself, did this actually happen, or is this just my interpretation? This actively trains your brain to pull back and analyze the situation rationally rather than emotionally. Step 6 requires a bit of patience. Delay your decisions when you're highly emotional. There is a very, very true principle here. A stormy mind cannot steer a ship. When you are highly anxious, angry, or scared, your brain isn't looking for rational solutions. It's honestly just playing disaster movies on loop. You cannot force a functional solution in that state. You just can't. Give yourself a pause. It is so important to realize that waiting isn't avoiding the problem. It's ensuring that your decisions are coming from a place of solid clarity rather than a place of panic and fear. So what do you do while you wait for that emotional storm to pass? Well, you have to drain off that excess mental energy, redirect it into physical or creative outlets. Go for a walk, do some light exercise, try writing, painting, or even gardening. Doing this gives your mind a much-needed reset. Activities like gardening or going for a walk actively ground you in your physical body and in the present moment. Once your body moves and that emotional intensity drops, you can return to the exact same problem and suddenly view it with fresh, crystal clear logic. And our final section, Section 5, Action over Perfection, Taking the Leap. This is where we transform all that analysis into forward momentum. And the focus here is simple: progress over perfection. Overthinking is very often just perfectionism wearing a really good disguise. Think about the idea of climbing stairs toward a goal. We get trapped at the bottom step because we are waiting for a flawless, 100% perfect path to appear before we even move. We want guarantees. But the real truth is, the best solutions usually come from taking one small, imperfect action and then just adjusting your course as you go. Perfection isn't the goal, progress is. Taking that very first small, imperfect step upward is the ultimate cure for the mental spin. So, we've seen how to identify the trap, structure the chaos, and prioritize action. You now have the translated blueprint to turn your endless worry into deep, highly productive insight. Remember, your mind is an absolutely brilliant tool. It really is. It just needs you to steer it. So, I will leave you with this final thought to ponder. Where will you direct your brilliant mind today? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.